So guys, here we are, Rojo. I guess we'll go in, meet the guys, and go and do this try dive. Let's go. So guys, here we are, my first breaths on the Mares horizon, and I seem to be having an absolute whale of a time. Enjoying myself. Oh yeah, there we go. So one thing you need to know about this unit, guys, is it does come with a gag strap as standard to basically hold that big bit of kit in your mouth, and after a 30-minute try dive didn't have the slightest inkling of jaw rake, which was really nice. Now here's Dean, and he's having a good time as well, and here is a quick shot of the handset, which I must admit is absolutely beautiful and super clear to see. Now, obviously, one of the things I was interested is really how much do these bubble. So here's a quick shot of the bubbles coming out of Dean's, and as you can see, there are a few, not many. Now, you do have to bear in mind that we are only shallow, so these bubbles are about as big as they're going to get. Now, if you're down at 20 or 30 meters, the bubbles coming out of this thing would be tiny. Here's a shot over my head of them coming out of mine. You can see they just sort of leak out of the case. So if you've never dove a CCR type system, guys, then you do not understand the pain of how it messes with your buoyancy. Because you've got counter lungs on there, the amount of air in the loop is always the same, so it doesn't matter if you take a big breath or you take a shallow breath, it doesn't affect your buoyancy, so you really are relying on your wings. So as you can see here, I was a little bit too light, dumped a bit too much air, now I'm having to put some in again to balance it out, so it really does sort of take you back to being a bit of novice. I must admit though, within 10 minutes or so, I'd got it absolutely nailed, even in these shallow depths, and obviously that's just going to be easier the deeper you go. I'm just having a little play here with the computer and some of the menu functions, and it's basically a nice easy 2-button design, one to scroll, one to select, super clear to see the menu and super easy to operate. It's so nice, sat here, enjoying the quiet, watching the world go by. I think what I'm going to do is just give you another look at this very purdy dive computer. It's so nice, I really like it. Look into my eyes. Yes, hopefully in my right eye you can see a little pulsing green light, and that is the reflection from the HUD that comes as standard with this unit, and that pulsing green light lets you know that everything is super. It's dead easy sifting, guys. Green for good, red for bad. Diving this unit is very different to other CCRs because it is effectively diving in a side mount configuration. Because the unit itself is so light, it's the cylinders that are providing most of the weight, and they're slung underneath you or down the side of you, so it very much is side mount. Now, one thing I noticed straight away, because this is only a try dive unit, it's not set perfectly for me, I was quite nose heavy to start with, but it didn't take me long to realise that if I just unclipped the back of the cylinder from the waist belt and moved it slightly further back to where you can see it's there, it's clipped onto what they're calling the butt plate, that moved the cylinder back and helped my trim no end, and from then on I was super comfortable. So these things are going to take a little bit of setting up, but once you've got it right, I think it's going to be absolutely brilliant for buoyancy and trim. Got to be quiet in a moment, guys, and you're going to have to listen because there's a bit of an in-joke with some of the CCR divers in our club, because they basically irritate me on every dive we do by incessantly humming a very catchy tune that just gets hooked in your brain, and I'm going to hum it for you a little bit now. If you recognise the tune, do leave a comment down below. All that's left to say is a massive thank you to Ed Bulmer, one of Morris's accounts managers, and to Andy Rose, the manager of SSI UK and Ireland, who was our instructor for the day, had the patience of a saint and took the time to answer all the questions I got about the unit and more. Passionate about the product, the pair of them, really good to meet them, and we had a whale of a time. Thank you very much, guys.
So, as you can probably tell, guys, I really enjoyed that try dive, and I think the unit delivers a lot of what I was expecting it to do. So I guess at this point, we best address some of those concerns that I had back in the first video. So I'm going to do this slightly out of order because I think it's the best way to present it. So the last question I asked is, where has this unit been for the last 4 years? Because although initially launched in 2019, I haven't heard or seen of it until this year. And the simple answer for that, and I guess the most obvious answer for that, is well, COVID happened, and that put the brakes and the kibosh on everything. Not only in terms of production, in terms of getting instructors trained, getting the distribution right, getting the marketing right, and getting the units out there. So it proper put a spanner in the works, the same as it did for pretty much everybody else on the planet. So I totally get that, and I totally understand it. So what the guys have said is now is the real proper launch in the UK, where they've actually got some units to play with, and hence why they're doing a tour of the UK, doing some of these try dives. So do check out your local centre to see if they're doing one near you. So one of my other concerns was about how you monitor the effectiveness of the CO2 scrubbers. And as I said, because it's based on a Revo unit, Revos have 2 scrubbers, so like a redundancy scrubber. And kind of the answer to that is kind of as I predicted in the first video. So yes, it is a mathematics type algorithm that's working out how much CO2 you're outputting, and then working out how long a properly packed scrubber will take to get saturated. And it is kind of customizable in that you have to put your weight in, but it does work on that basis. Now, I'm not super happy about that, but when you think about it in real terms, okay, let's think of this we're going away on a diving weekend. So I'm going to pack it and get it ready on the Friday night. I'm going to dive with it on the Saturday. Now, when I plugged the numbers in on the computer in the pool, it told me I'd got about 3 hours worth of scrubber life on the first scrubber. So not both scrubbers, just the first one. So that's a day's diving, okay? Like way easy a day's diving. 3 hours in water on a average UK diving weekend is more than you're ever going to get in reality. Normally it's 2 dives, an hour each, isn't it? So end of the Saturday, where we swap the top scrubber for the bottom scrubber. So bottom scrubber goes up to the top, refill the top with some fresh lime, put that in the bottom, go do the second day's diving, again with a 3 hour runtime on that top scrubber that's only been used to sort of back up the previous day. Knowing that we've still got another 3 hours worth in the bottom scrubber should something go wrong. End of Sunday, it all goes in the bin, you pack up the unit and you go home. So in reality, I think you've got bags of capacity, and I really don't think that's going to be a problem. The other thing to note, guys, is once we'd done the dive, Andy, the instructor, we did dismantle the units and have a look, and it was very clear from just holding the 2 scrubbers, the one that we got from the top was absolutely glowing, which showed that was doing all the work, and the backup scrubber was stone cold. So absolutely, it was doing the job as intended. I did have a concern. I'm not bothered about it anymore. Another one of my concerns from the previous video was to do with the weight. It is super light. As we've already said in the previous video, this thing, when empty and ready for traveling, only weighs 12 kilo, minus the cylinders, but the rest of the unit, 12 kilo, ready for traveling. With the softened lime in it, you put 2 kilos in, so that makes it 14 kilos. So ready to dive, minus cylinders, with 14 kilo. And my concern was, how the hell do you dive that in a dry suit when we need kilos and kilos and kilos of weight to get us tails to sink? Because we're super floaty with those big thick undersuits on that stop us freezing to death. The simple answer is, and I sort of semi-guessed it again, is, you can put weight on it, so pockets onto the webbing bands and things like that. But yes, you can buy from Mars Direct, or part of their XR range, their wonking great big 6mm back plate, which weighs a stonking 7 kilos. So by the time, and I was actually using that on the unit that I was using on the try dive, it felt absolutely comfortable, no problems at all. And obviously 7 kilo plus they did clarify as well in them compartments, and yes, I remember the word this time, in those compartments, you can fit definitely 2.5 kilo, so that makes it 5 kilo. Steel 7s to dive with, and I think you're probably going to be about all right. And again, that concern has been put aside. I'm not going to have to wear like half my body weight in lead around my waist when I'm diving with this unit. The first concern I raised on the previous video was again due to its lightness, and the reason it is so light is because it is made of plastic. Okay, apart from the massive big backplate, the bulk of the unit is plastic, and obviously in a 30-minute try dive, I can't assess whether it's going to last you for 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 years. You know, if you buy this unit and for the price it is, I would be expecting at least 10 years life out of it. Obviously, I did ask the guys, and yes, it is made of a Duralin type plastic, something that is very, very robust and very, very strong and should not break. But they're going to say that, aren't they? Because these are the guys selling it. So the only way we're going to know is by real world testing, you know, by taking it out, giving it some stick, giving it some ammo, and seeing how it does. Now, I guess we get to now the big question. Am I going to buy one? Well, it's been a few days since I did the try dive, and I have had much time to mull over my options. And the answer is, am I going to buy one? Yes, but not yet. Okay, and why do I say that? Okay, there's a few reasons I say that. First, this is a first edition, okay, and the first edition anything has issues. If we look back at similar products like the Hollis Explorer semi-closed rebreather, I mean, that was literally on the city, so I saw it everywhere, absolutely everywhere, for about 6 months, and then it disappeared as quick as it came. It was here one day and gone the next. And if the Mares unit is going to go the same way, which I really, really hope it doesn't, because I really do think this is the future of recreational diving. I think in 10, 20 years, we're not even going to be starting people on singles. We're just going to start on something like this, and that will be it. And you know, these carrying these massive cylinders, people are going to look at those old school boys and go, bloody idiots, what are they doing? Bring it into the real world. So I really do think it's got legs. However, am I willing to put $6,000 of my own money down as a bet on that? No, I'm not. Then there's also the thing with all the issues and the problems are found in version 1, aren't they? Okay. So if we have a look, and just as another example, at the Vaquita, the little super dive camera that had all the stuff on it. If you follow my friend Brian Davis on Brian Davis Scuba, he does extensive testings with the Vaquita 1, and basically it was a £900 lemon. It just didn't do what they said it would do. Now he's currently testing the Vaquita 2, which is a vast improvement. He's already told me a vast improvement over the first version. So all those people, all those early adopters that dashed out and bought the first one, have basically just chucked the money down the drain, because now they've got an inferior product and the second one's been released. And it's always like that, isn't it? Cars, mobile phones, computers, there is always the step up. And I know that you can say that, well, you're always going to have that then, Andy. Well, it doesn't matter which one you buy, there's always going to be a better one. But there's normally a big leap between version 1 and version 2. And I'm just not sure I want to be spending that money on version 1. And that's that. So the third and final reason why I'm not going to be buying one of these units straight away is simply the fact I can't afford it. With the cost of living crisis currently happening, Liz Truss's government making things worse literally by the day, I'm afraid when you're getting to the point where you're thinking about selling a kidney just to pay your household bills, spending $6,000 on what's effectively a toy, I'm afraid just isn't going to wash with my family. That being said, I am going to reach out to Ed and the rest of the team over at Mares and see if there's any possibilities of me borrowing a unit to do some testing for you guys, and we can really put it through its paces. I would absolutely love to give it a good few runs out over here in the UK, and also take it on the trip in August over to South Africa. So not only can I demonstrate how brilliant it should be to travel with, but also how fantastic it is for getting near to creatures, because that should be shark, and lots of other critters to get close to as well. So I would absolutely love to have a unit for there. So we'll just have to see what they say, guys. You know, these things are not cheap and they've not got shelves of them to give away to silly YouTubers like me, but I'll ask the question, and the worst they can do is say no, isn't it? So if you see some videos coming up where I'm off to do my Mares Horizon training, you'll know the answer's been positive, but if not, then we'll just have to leave it till some point next year. Pray to Christ that the energy prices come down, fuel gets a bit better, and things get something like back to normal, and I've got a bit more disposable income, so I can actually go and buy one of my dream units. Alright guys, that's it for this couple of videos. It has pretty much been done. That's my thoughts. Like I said, overall positive. I think, as I've said before in the video, I really do think this is the future of recreational diving. I think this hybrid CCR and open circuit, so the semi-closed rebreather, it provides all the safety that you need, but with some of the benefits of CCR to make a safe, comfortable, exciting way to dive under recreational limits. I'm super excited to see what comes out, and I'm super excited to start seeing these units out and about on trips and on inland sites and people being trained on them. I will ask Ed to give me a full list of where they're holding tri-dives around the UK. I will post that down below in my description if they're able to provide that. But other than that, guys, do check out your local dive centre. Do check out the Mares Horizon website. Keep an eye out, because if you get a chance to have a go on one of these units, I would highly recommend it. Other than that, guys, that's me done. I'm going to get another Malta video out for you soon, so do check that out. Other than that, guys, I will see you, as always, on the next one.